family's needs in elder law, estate planning, and estate administration. Call Crosswhite Law today, 704-873-7233.
The following is a paid program and does not necessarily reflect the views of WSIC.
If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth.
All Things Saine. Representative Jason Saine.
And good morning to you. I am your host, former Representative Jason Saine. Glad to be with you here on All Things Saine on WSIC. Getting started this morning, recovering from the storm. I know as many of you are as well, but we've got it a lot better than most. I can tell you at home, we had a tree that if it fell 5 feet one way or 5 feet the other way, one of our homes there in the neighborhood would have been crushed. And we did have one that was at the back of our neighborhood. So I know everyone's dealing with it. It has been bad in our listening area, but for those who listen in Western North Carolina, I don't even imagine that you'll get the show this week, but at some point in time, you hopefully listen to the podcast when things are a little better and just know that we're praying for you. It's been awful. On the phone with me today, we got a jam-packed show, by the way, but on the phone with me today is State Representative Brenden Jones, good friend of mine. He chairs transportation. He's an appropriations chair. We've spent many nights working on budget together, locked in a room. But Representative Jones, thanks for joining the show. I know you've been out west on a helicopter just seeing the damage. Was it yesterday that you were out there kind of touring and seeing what was happening?
Jason, good to be here on your show, and good to hear from you and know that you and your family are safe. No, we went out Monday. Tried to go Sunday, weather prohibited us, but went out Monday, started our trek. We went over to Cleveland County, shot over to Polk County, Rutherford County, then down to Burke County. Weather kept us from going to Buncombe very much. We did land in Asheville, but I saw enough to understand and have a real grasp of what was going on.
Well, I saw your pictures this morning from the tour, and saw you met with Representative Johnson, Senator Moffitt, Representative Blackwell, Congressman Edwards on your tour. But you saw firsthand and got to talk with everybody that made it, quite frankly, because their deaths, and we know that death toll is rising as we try to account for people. But your pictures, I think, said it better than anything. I was reading comments on social media, and look, I get it. When people aren't in the middle of it, they don't really truly understand it. So I got, reading people complaining about internet service or power, and trust me, we were without power, we were without internet for a while, and for me and my family, when we're without power, we're without water because we're on well water. But we were mildly inconvenienced compared. You saw it firsthand. How bad is it?
Well, being a coastal guy, as you know, serving in the House with me, when we got hit by the hurricanes here on the coast, it was absolutely devastating. But the one thing about being a flatlander, our geography didn't change. What was just absolutely mind-blowing is the map of North Carolina will have to be redrawn because where things were are no longer there, and they're in new places. Rivers are running a different path. Senator Moffitt now has a river going through his front yard that he never had before. Representative Green lost his home. But, just being at Lake Lure, knowing that area, and there's 5 foot of mud at the town hall. People out with skid steers just trying to get the mud moved. Chimney Rock homes are in piles going down the road. The road there at Lure is gone. Sides of mountains are gone, and the devastation of those rocks and that mud mixed with that water, it was literally like a freight train that tore through that area. So while out on the coast, we understand devastation, but as you said, we get kind of upset when we're inconvenienced. But you're talking about generational homes, generational land being lost. The toll of the body counts will go up as we're getting reports in. But this is not something that we're going to clean up in 2 or 3 weeks, 2 or 3 months. It will be 2 or 3 years and billions of dollars. But going out with the speaker, meeting with those representatives, Congressman Edwards, it gave us a great insight. We've already started working on a disaster package that we will implementing very, very soon. But Jason, people don't take account. What are our kids going to do? They can't remote learn. Teachers, so we're going to make sure that we help our children out to make sure that they're forgiven for times that they can't be there. Our college students, make sure that proper things are done to take care of these people best we can.
Well, I applaud you for it, and I thank you for it. I know you don't get a lot of thank yous as a representative. I've lived that life. I know all too well. But you guys, one, you're away from your families, and these folks. I know Representative Johnson's been on the ground. Senator Moffitt has been out there, trying to help and coordinate, and you've got folks who are in office all across the state who recognize what a travesty this is for the state. Much like we do when things hit your area, and you do get a lot more than the mountains. We that was a once in a lifetime event, hopefully once in a lifetime event, and of course never wish it on you guys, but you're a lot more resilient to it because it's somewhat of a way of life. Though it's never convenient. It's always devastating for you all. But to your point, as someone who lives on flat land, it is a much different scenario in the mountains. And the fact that you didn't have to get on that helicopter and go view it, but you really understand that this, to your point, is going to take years to get over and just tons and tons of money to help these folks get through what's happened to them. You guys are going into session next week. Can we expect something next week, or is that just too soon?
No. Immediately, I was actually on the phone with the speaker, being on the disaster committee, and speaking to Representative Bell as well, Representative Hall, as well as other members. But the top leadership had started on phone conversations. I have lived it. We do not have time to wait. We must act immediately. Representative Bell lives on the coast, close enough to the coast. He understands. So, no, we're going to do something immediately, and hoping our colleagues in the Senate are going to follow suit, so we can start dispersing monies and changing some things that need to be changed, tweaked to make sure the proper things are getting out to the folks. But yeah, it's living on the coast, it's coming. But I don't think there's a thing the folks in the mountains could have done to ever expect anything like this. It's until you go and you see it, you can't believe it. The pictures do not do it justice. When you're actually driving down and you smell the propane from all these tanks that have broken loose from the houses and are going down the river and on the side of the road, you're standing there and there's whole homes there, refrigerators, stoves, toys, heirlooms. It's just it is absolutely heartbreaking. But the one thing I've learned through these tragedies, and especially Monday, folks are generally good people, especially North Carolinians. I mean, there's people from everywhere. Folks on my side of the state have just headed that way, carrying stuff because they appreciate, remember what Westerners did for us. Met guys from New York doing swift water recovery. So, in general, we are still a great nation because of the great people. And even though it's a tragedy, it does bring the best out of everyone. It's awesome to see the camaraderie and people sacrificing, leaving their jobs, leaving their families to go make sure that our folks are taken care of.
Well, I can't thank you enough for being a leader on the recovery, on the just mitigating everything that's going on. I know you don't have a lot of time because your phone is blowing up, but I appreciate the fact that you just joined us today. And Representative Brenden Jones, thank you always for your leadership, and glad to have you on All Things Saine today. We'll touch base with you in a couple of weeks, see how things are going.
Thanks, my friend.
All right, take care. Thank you, sir.
More of All Things Saine with NC Representative Jason Saine is coming up on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Well, drier weather is starting to arrive as the remnants of Helene finally push away from us. More sunshine coming back around Lake Norman today.
Okay.
To the low 80s. Most of us stay dry, but an isolated shower can't be totally ruled out for the afternoon and evening. We'll drop into the mid-60s overnight. Dry weather locks in as we go into the upcoming weekend. Temperatures near 80 through Saturday. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Listen, save, enjoy. The WSIC app, available now in your app store.
Here's your WSIC community calendar. Brookdale Village in Huntersville presents their free concert series Live Under the Oaks on Friday. The Village is open all day for shopping and dining, with Ben Gatlin taking the stage powered by Waves Entertainment at 6 p.m. Bring your chairs and enjoy on-site beverages from Red Rocks. Live Under the Oaks with Ben Gatlin kicks off at 6 p.m. Friday. The popular Piedmont Healthcare Friday After 5 concert series offers free entertainment to residents, neighbors, and visitors in downtown Statesville. This Friday, the Megan Doss concert will be held on West Broad Street in front of Mitchell Community College from 6 p.m. to 8:30. Beer, wine, soft drinks, and food will be available for purchase beginning at 5 p.m. Bring your chairs and enjoy a night of music from country singer Megan Doss at Friday After 5 in downtown Statesville. NASCAR returns to Charlotte Motor Speedway for their annual fall weekend in October on the Roval. The Xfinity Series holds the Drive for the Cure 250 on Saturday, October 12th. The Cup Series competes in the Bank of America Roval 400 on Sunday, October 13th. Weekend ticket packages as well as daily tickets are available. Also check out deals for military service members, college students, suites, the Champions Pavilion, the Indoor Clubhouse, Terrace Box, 4-packs, and more. Don't miss any of the entertainment, including Eli Young Band and Tim Duggar concerts before racing's royalty duels for Roval supremacy. Visit CharlotteMotorspeedway.com for information, tickets, and details. To keep up with all the events happening around the community and much more, including amazing local deals, download the WSIC News app today.
The Renaissance Festival is back, Saturdays and Sundays, October 5th through November 24th. Eat, drink, be merry at the Renaissance Festival. Tickets available online only at renfestinfo.com. Don't miss it.
Call now to speak with NC Representative Jason Saine at 844-STUDIO-4. It's All Things Saine on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth.
All Things Saine. Representative Jason Saine.
And welcome back to All Things Saine. I'm your host, former State Representative Jason Saine, here on WSIC. We do this every Wednesday from 11 to 12. Glad you join us, whether it's live on the broadcast or through the podcast. Really appreciate it. We've got a jam-packed show today. We just jumped right in with Chairman Brenden Jones from the North Carolina House. Brenden, one heck of a guy, works very hard. He's an appropriations chairman. We've worked very closely together over the years, just a good friend, and overseas transportation, which, look, that's going to be a big part of relief as well. But first and foremost is just trying to save lives and help people put the pieces back together. And it's going to be tough, and it is it is incredible, just the devastation. His pictures on Facebook said it all from his helicopter tour on Monday with the Speaker of the House as they viewed the damage to get an assessment of really what it's going to take. And he's right, it's going to take 2-3 years, and some people will never really truly recover. And then the loss of life has just been phenomenal. But joining me on the phone now, I've got Representative Kevin Crutchfield. Kevin represents Cabarrus County. He's on the phone. Kevin, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing great, Jason. How are you?
I'm better than most. Certainly better than most in Western North Carolina. And thanks for asking. I know that you jumped into action, though it didn't really impact your area too much. You probably got some wind damage and some minor things, power outages that were quickly restored. But you jumped into action. It's been amazing to me watch how so many of you who are leaders in our state just take it upon yourselves. You recognize that people need help. I know you jumped into action almost right after the storm hit. Tell me what's been going on in your world and what you've been working on.
Well, Jason, it's an apocalyptic event up there in the mountains, and folks like you and me that live up there are suffering, and they're suffering big time. And we know the federal government's going to bring them help, but what we're trying to do is fill the gap between the devastation and when the federal government gets everything in gear, because they just can't respond and react as quickly as we private citizens can. So what we're trying to do is help fill that gap with supplies. And we've done some collections. We've done some deliveries up to Boone. We're looking at trying to take some machinery to the mountains to see if we can help clear roads. And really just, if anybody's been watching Facebook, some of the stories and some of the stuff that's going on up there is just, it's gut-wrenching. And,
I can't sit at home in my house in my air conditioning and know what those people are going through and not do something. And I am so amazed at the support of North Carolinians across the state and what they're doing, and what they're trying to do to help these folks. And it's just amazing to me to watch this, how we support each other when these times of devastation like this.
Well, it is. You sometimes you get lost in the day to day and people and their, just negativity sometimes, where you get, lost in social media and negative comments. But it's sometimes it's hard to remember that they are really still good in people, and sometimes it takes something like this that brings that out. And you've just jumped in. I just want to applaud you. I said to Brenden, you don't get enough thanks for the job that you do on behalf of people in North Carolina. And you certainly didn't have to do any of this. Your district is relatively okay after all that's happened. But that's not your nature. Nobody's making you do it. You recognize the need, and you've brought a lot of people with you. I saw pictures of you loading freight, loading up water, needed supplies, everything else. How did that all come together? I mean, you've been a leader in this regard for your area, and other folks are doing it too. I just know you, and I happen to see what you're doing. But how quickly were folks jumping in? How did that work?
Well, I have the luxury of having a very spunky legislative assistant in Raleigh, Caitlin Fontaine, who does an amazing job. Member of the Young Republicans, and when this happened, we started having conversations. And the first thing she does is gets on the horn and calls the Young Republicans and say, "Hey, we need to have a fundraiser. We need to have a call. Let's try to raise some money." And we got together with how do we do that? Found out through other couple of channels that a great company out of Morrisville called Niagara Water was willing to donate the water for us to take up there. So we coordinated with them. We were able to pick it up from them. Went over to the Costco and bought a bunch of supplies with the money that the Young Republicans had raised. And just called Ray Pickett, who's up in Boone, and said, "What do you need? What can we get you? What do you need fast?" He says, "Man, right this minute, what we really need is water. We just don't have enough water. The supply plants are down. We have no power. We have no way to generate water." So that was really the motivation of us, was to try to get them some stuff that they need, and now look at how do we help other parts of the state. You mentioned about me. I just want to make sure that I am clear on one thing. This isn't about me. This is about the people in need. And while I appreciate the recognition, it's not why I'm doing it. I just want to help my fellow North Carolinians and actually Americans across the country when times like this happen.
No, that's excellent point. And it's not about you; it's about the people we're trying to help. And but it takes leaders to grab a hold of it, and just sometimes folks, that's all they need is someone to step up front and say, "Hey, we're going to do this thing. Can you help?" And for that, I applaud you for doing that, because it does matter. And Caitlin had reached out to me, sent me a text. We were at the point on Friday and Saturday where I was having to drive 2 miles to a space where I could actually get a connection because cell service was down. We had no power, trees in the road. You couldn't go one way, you could go the other way. And I shared contacts with Caitlin of who all to reach out to that I knew of, and I'd go sit in a parking lot for about an hour just trying to respond to folks. You mentioned Representative Ray Pickett up in Blowing Rock in the Boone area. Boone, oh my gosh, just to see App State. I grew up App State fan. Parents, those were some of my first football games going up to Appalachian, and just seeing downtown Boone and the flooding and the devastation there. Of course, students are on campus still. And I wanted to check on my friend Ray and make sure that he was okay. He was, and doing just the same thing you're doing is just jumping up and stepping out front and saying, "Look, I know people want to help. Let me help organize. We've got resources to do that." I know that Pickett's very thankful for your help and all the people in Boone. But we've got a long way to go.
We do have a long way to go. Some of the things we've done that, I was able to reach a couple folks I know in the Asheville area that could get to a particular parking lot and get enough signal to text. And their biggest challenge up there was nobody knew what was going on, who was doing it, where it was happening. There was no communications. And we got a hold of some folks with private helicopters that are able to fly Skylink systems into remote parts of the state and get those things set up to try to establish some communication. So even the emergency management people could get communications to where people needed help and where the problems were. Now, we don't have near enough, but we've done a lot on that in the last 3 or 4 days to get communications up in some remote parts of the state. Hats off to those guys. These are people that own their own personal helicopters, or spend their own time and fuel to get this stuff done, just willing to help out. The other thing I wanted to mention was I had some conversations with Lowe's companies, and Lowe's has gone over backwards up there, with opening their stores up to allow people, if they need water, come get it. If they need chainsaws, come get it. If they need a generator, come get it. Lowe's is just doing an amazing job to help out as well.
Well, they have. I know they opened up a lot of their stores, and I will share with you a story. You probably don't know this. I was talking to Senator Bergen yesterday. We were at a thing in Charlotte and just had a really good conversation. We were talking about the upcoming session that you've got next week, where you've got to make some decisions. Everyone knows, House, Senate, that things have got to start moving, and help's got to start happening. And look, you made the point. Government doesn't work fast. That's not the role of government. It's just not how it works, right? Private citizens step in. But the amount of relief that's going to have to be there from state and federal is going to be enormous. You guys got some tough decisions to make coming up, but I think you're all better prepared for it because you've all been involved in the recovery effort and the rescue effort to whatever degree. Brenden, Chairman Jones was flying around in the helicopter because he's a transportation and appropriations chair, seeing it. You're out here as a private citizen, not as a legislator, but as a private citizen, organizing folks and getting supplies done. But there's just going to be so much more to do, and you guys you've got a lot of tough decisions to make as how to best appropriate dollars and to what agencies and to what can happen. But again, huge thank you for what you're doing.
Well, I appreciate it.
Yeah. What I know you're not disengaged from it. You're still greatly involved in it. What's the next couple of days look like for you?
Well, we're collecting. We've set up a collection point in my company over in Concord, Casco Signs. Anybody in Concord area that wants to bring stuff there to the facility, we're collecting it there and then shuttling it up to distribution points up in the mountains. We're also trying to address needs. Like right now, there's a huge need for CO2 transport cylinders. They need a lot of oxygen up there in the mountains, believe it or not. When everything shuts down and you can't get stuff in and out, we're literally flying bottles of oxygen into areas of the state that need it. Hendersonville, at the hospital there. We've got companies here in North Carolina, in Midland, that are helping us with oxygen, but they don't have enough cylinders. So if there's anybody listening to this call that has access to D and E cylinders for oxygen, we could definitely use some of those. They can call Stephanie with CMC, and I'll give you a number here, Jason. It's 980-239-2204. They can definitely help with transporting those cylinders and filling them. We just need the cylinders to put it in. I have a list of other things that you may already know about, items that they need up there. Obviously, bottled water, diapers, wipes, formula, hand sanitizers, paper towels, toilet paper, batteries, flashlights, first aid supplies, feminine hygiene products, personal hygiene, toiletries, soap, shampoo, toothpaste, toothbrushes, non-perishable food, trash bags. Oh, gosh, the list goes on. Tarps, blankets, beach, towels, shovels, brooms, gas cans is another thing that's in short supply. If you can get to a gas station, there's not enough containers around to transport it for the people that need it. So anybody that can help with these items, whatever you can do, little or big, just whatever you can do is going to be greatly appreciated by the folks up there.
Representative Kevin Crutchfield, really appreciate you being on. We'll repeat that number. Thanks for joining the show.
Thank you, Jason. You have
Don't
a great
go
day.
anywhere. We'll be back with more All Things Saine, hosted by NC Representative Jason Saine on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Well, drier weather is starting to arrive as the remnants of Helene finally push away from us. More sunshine coming back around Lake Norman today. We'll warm into the low 80s. Most of us stay dry, but an isolated shower can't be totally ruled out for the afternoon and evening. We'll drop into the mid-60s overnight. Dry weather locks in as we go into the upcoming weekend. Temperatures near 80 through Saturday. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Looking for a large private room for your next work function? Or maybe you need a place to bring the whole family for a delicious meal? Pomodoros of Mooresville has the perfect space for your crowd. Book your next event at pomodoros.com.
For over 57 years, Nelson Royals has been serving the Lake Norman, Mooresville, Statesville, and surrounding counties. Nelson Royals has work in Western clothing and over 4,000 boots and shoes in stock. Brands like Ariat, Rocky, Justin, Durango, Tony Lama, Red Wing, Thorogood, Skechers, Hey Dude, and many more. Check them out at nelsonroyals.com.
Folks, here at Randy Marion Chevrolet in Statesville, we have got the brand new 2025 Chevrolet Traverse in stock, all redesigned from front to back, top to bottom, inside and out. Come see them today. We have got a great selection of these new Traverses ready for you to take home. And also, we got great discounts on our Silverado trucks. We got the regular cab, crew cab, double cabs, discounted up to $9,000 off. Great selection, Randy Marion Chevrolet in Statesville, right on I-40.
This is North Carolina Senator Vicki Sawyer. Join me on Fridays at 11 a.m. for our show, We're Just Saying. We'll discuss state and local politics, and as always, take your calls here on News Talk WSIC.
Drum Landscape Supply is the go-to spot for anything you need for your yard. Transform your landscaping. Drum Landscape Supply has trees, flowers, natural stone, custom blended grass seed, mulch, and more. Plus, they deliver. DrumLandscapeSupply.com.
Hi, this is Bob McIntosh with the McIntosh Law Firm in Davidson. Since 1997, we have been committed to providing our clients with competent, caring, and experienced legal services. Learn more at McIntoshLawFirm.com.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. A lot can change in less than a year. At the start of 2024, the CEO of drug maker Novo Nordisk was fielding phone calls from food industry execs scared that his weight loss drugs Ozempic and Wegovy would slam their sales. Now they're sensing opportunity. Nestle has launched an entire frozen food line specifically for people taking the weight loss drugs. ConAgra, Campbell Soup, and Danone plan to highlight their product's protein, an ingredient the drug takers are told to increase. The maker of weight loss drugs Mounjaro and Zepbound, whose success has made it the most valuable drug company in the world, is shelling out $4.5 billion for the next big thing. Eli Lilly is investing in a new plant in Indiana to make drugs for future clinical trials. Since 2020, it's invested $23 billion into new and existing facilities. Wall Street's indexes have turned things around, barely. Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P 500 each gaining now, less than 0.1%. Andrew O'Day, Bloomberg Radio.
Now more of All Things Saine with North Carolina Representative Jason Saine on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth.
All Things Saine with Representative Jason Saine.
And welcome back to All Things Saine. I'm your host, former State Representative Jason Saine. Glad to talk with you today, talking about what happened last Friday. My wife grew up in Connecticut, New York State, moved around. Her dad had jobs that moved him around, and she wasn't here during Hugo. And on Thursday, I lived through that. I was a high schooler, and we were without power, I think, 12 or 13 days. Memory fades a little bit, something I want to forget, but I hadn't quite forgotten it all, and I knew that we needed to be prepared for what might come. You don't think about it. Being inland is 3.5 hours to 4 hours inland, depending on where you're coming from. Just not used to hurricanes blowing through and blowing up the area. I saw pictures from the lake. I love Lake Norman. I love being out there on my boat. My son asked me on Sunday, he says, "Dad, you think we'll get on the lake anytime soon?" I said, "Not a chance." It's pretty bad. It's at different places, depending on where it's the debris and stuff is rolled up into coves. But really a lot of hazards in the water. It's fall. I love being out on the lake in the fall, and son loves taking the boat out, and we have a great time when we do it. But probably no time soon. Probably a good time to install those speakers I've had in the box for a while. But outside of that, it's just pretty devastating. I saw there's a Facebook group where I'm on with Lake Norman boaters, and saw some floating docks, floating boats that had gotten loose. just a lot of debris in that lake. So if you do go out, do be careful. If you've got a propeller boat, that just be careful, because there's lots of things floating in that water that I could see from the shore, and it's certainly got to be out there in the lake. Now, coming across the bridge yesterday on 77, looked pretty pristine out there, but that could be also a little bit misleading, because you don't know what lies right underneath the surface of the water. Not to be an alarmist, but just know that it's not normal boating, and so do maintain some level of awareness as you're out there if you do have to go out. And I don't even pretend to know how they're going to clean up all that. I'm sure volunteers will get to it. We're resilient people, and again, ours is minimal compared to what those folks in Lake Lure area, Chimney Rock. When Chairman Jones was talking about Chimney Rock, I remember doing an event for Representative Jake Johnson, who I texted with this morning, and he's only got signal when he's at the Emergency Management Center there in Rutherford and Polk counties. But we did an event for him, and I saw a photo of the restaurant that we did that. And they have a kind of an extended porch going toward the road, and then on the other side of the road was the river, and gone. Just the entire front of that building gone. And that's probably the least of the damage. The mud that Chairman Jones described, and then again, just the help that everybody that I know has just jumped in, pitched in. And then Kevin Crutchfield, Representative Crutchfield, just sent me a message. He said, by the way, Charlotte Motor Speedway and NASCAR are ramping up with collections and support in both Charlotte and using North Wilkesboro facilities. So, private enterprise, private sector, sometimes gets a bad rap because they're in business to be in business, and that's what they do, whatever their business is. But when tragedy and devastation like this happens, they're the first to jump in. They do it well before the government ever can get off their keisters to get moving. And it's not being negative. It's just not the way things work, right? And I think too, when texting with Representative Jones or Representative Johnson, he said, look, I think the feds were caught flat-footed, and that's not necessarily a throw off on them. I don't think anyone could really conceive what's happening. I know this is kind of a different show today, but it's just one top of mind. And to tell you the truth, from my family's perspective, we were without power. My parents live about 4 doors down from us, and I was in that neighborhood, same neighborhood when Hugo came through, and not that we're used to it, but we've at least been there before. And that was on kind of the same level, I think, of at least inconvenience, though, a shorter time span this time. Although my neighbor behind me still doesn't have power. Poor guy just moved in, just bought the home a couple of weeks ago. He's had a well go out, and then he went on a cruise for his birthday, came back to this and the mess that he's had to clean up, and doesn't have power or water at this point. But we're helping him get by, and just a super nice guy. But these he too realizes these are minor inconveniences for us, for the folks who've lost their homes, some who've lost their lives. It's just no way to replace one, obviously, if you've passed away, but no way to really understand how to rebuild your life. I mean, it's quite depressing, but at the same time, you see slivers of hope, and you really see the good in people. In the next segment, we're going to have a good friend of mine, Jeff Pariano. I got to be good friends with him over the years, and thank you, Jeff. He let us use his pool house as a place to stay and get warm showers, because he did have power at least. And thankfully for my son, so that we could watch a little bit of college football on Saturday. When you're 16 and all you got to talk to is your parents because you're stuck at home, I think he was very happy to get out and for a little bit and at least enjoy a warm shower and get to watch a little bit of college football. But these other folks that are what Kevin said, they need oxygen tanks, or they need the cylinders more than anything. They can get them filled. So if you have that number he gave us to call is 980-239-2204. If you have access to those cylinders, or know a way to get that out to them, I want to pass that along so that folks can work on that. Other things are going on. The vice presidential debate happened last night. I watched a bit of it because of working in the yard and doing things that this 50-year-old's not used to doing. It's been a long time since I cut up trees and limbs and everything else. A little back pain, so I was on the heating pad and had some good medication, mainly bourbon, so that I could get through it. But watched a little bit of the debate. I thought Vance handled Waltz pretty well. Obviously, I'm biased. I mean, that's how I lean. But at the same time, Waltz looked like a deer in the headlights. So if you did watch that, I'm sorry. But actually, the vice presidential debates are where they actually really do talk about issues. So I kind of enjoy those. It's the only one that they'll have. But it was interesting. It was civil. I thought Waltz endorsed Vance's ideas more than anything for the portion I watched before I went to sleep there in my chair and woke up at the end. But it was at least interesting to watch. But other things on the horizon, we got the dock workers strike. Folks, this doesn't play well for Biden and Harris, or I guess for Harris' campaign. It will if we start getting short on supplies. For folks, one, we're not even talking about the areas impacted by the hurricane. If we start running on short supplies because dock workers are on strike, and as the election looms, that's a bad place to be if you're the incumbent. We'll see how that all plays out. Maybe they can get it resolved. But such is what's happening. All these things. When people start making predictions in early October about what will happen in the presidential race. Look, these things change on a dime, but these things are looming. And then, of course, you've got what was happening in Israel yesterday. And if you're sitting and just trying to ingest all this, every now and then, I think you need to, turn off the radio. And I know they don't want me to say that at the station, but turn off the television, turn off the radio, and just kind of suck in life a little bit and know that things are not always bad. But we do have a lot of things that are impacting the world right now that are just not in a great place, and you'd have to be a fool not to see it. Was at an event yesterday with Senator Sawyer and some local elected leaders here around the lake, and just talking about just the various things that we were talking about, mostly about the hurricane, but some of the other things that are happening, and of course elections. Elections are right around the corner, and now all these folks in the mountains, aside from everything else that they're dealing with. They do deserve, they have a right to vote. They obviously traditionally, vote, go to the polls and vote. And talking to Gray Mills, Representative Gray Mills yesterday about what they're going to have to address next week at the session about how to make sure that people have that opportunity if they want to vote. I mean, they've got a lot of things going on in their lives, but that's got to happen. Talking to my friend at UNC Asheville, who's the legislative liaison. He's basically the interface with the legislature and with the folks that are elected in the House and Senate. And UNC Asheville just devastated. We've got 3 major colleges that are in the thick of it, if you will, from the hurricane and dealing with everything that's going on there. It is real. They've postponed classes, I think, till later in October. I can't remember the date. High school playoffs, other things that you think about. 8 years ago, the North Carolina High School Athletic Association pushed back the start of its football playoffs due to Hurricane Matthew. North Carolina High School Athletic Association Commissioner Q. Tucker said that could be a possibility again this year after the devastation brought to the western part of the state by Hurricane Helena. So, so much going on, things that, the little things you don't think about. Starlink has been big. I'm happy to say that several years ago, it was helped with sponsor the legislation that allowed Starlink to come into North Carolina. Needed some enabling legislation. Had worked with Senator Tillis's office to make that happen, and now we're finding out that we really, really do need that, especially up in the mountains, just so people can get connected. When you're not connected to the rest of the world, you really do feel isolated, and sometimes that can be a good thing, but for long extended periods of time, it's not. We'll be back. You're listening to All Things Saine here on WSIC. Really appreciate you listening.
We'll be back with more of All Things Saine with NC Representative Jason Saine after this short break on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Well, drier weather is starting to arrive as the remnants of Helene finally push away from us. More sunshine coming back around Lake Norman today. We'll warm into the low 80s. Most of us stay dry, but an isolated shower can't be totally ruled out for the afternoon and evening. We'll drop into the mid-60s overnight. Dry weather locks in as we go into the upcoming weekend. Temperatures near 80 through Saturday. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. Brookdale Village in Huntersville presents their free concert series Live Under the Oaks on Friday. The Village is open all day for shopping and dining, with Ben Gatlin taking the stage powered by Waves Entertainment at 6 p.m. Bring your chairs and enjoy on-site beverages from Red Rocks. Live Under the Oaks with Ben Gatlin kicks off at 6 p.m. Friday. The popular Piedmont Healthcare Friday After 5 concert series offers free entertainment to residents, neighbors, and visitors in downtown Statesville. This Friday, the Megan Doss concert will be held on West Broad Street in front of Mitchell Community College from 6 p.m. to 8:30. Beer, wine, soft drinks, and food will be available for purchase beginning at 5 p.m. Bring your chairs and enjoy a night of music from country singer Megan Doss at Friday After 5 in downtown Statesville. NASCAR returns to Charlotte Motor Speedway for their annual fall weekend in October on the Roval. The Xfinity Series holds the Drive for the Cure 250 on Saturday, October 12th. The Cup Series competes in the Bank of America Roval 400 on Sunday, October 13th. Weekend ticket packages as well as daily tickets are available. Also check out deals for military service members, college students, suites, the Champions Pavilion, the Indoor Clubhouse, Terrace Box, 4-packs, and more. Don't miss any of the entertainment, including Eli Young Band and Tim Duggar concerts before racing's royalty duels for Roval supremacy. Visit CharlotteMotorspeedway.com for information, tickets, and details. To keep up with all the events happening around the community and much more, including amazing local deals, download the WSIC News app today.
The Renaissance Festival is back Saturdays and Sundays, October 5th through November 24th. Eat, drink, be merry at the Renaissance Festival. Tickets available online only at renfestinfo.com. Don't miss it!
All Things Saine continues. Here's your host, North Carolina Representative Jason Saine on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Just met you, and this is crazy, but here's my number.
And welcome back to All Things Saine. I'm your host, former State Representative Jason Saine. Glad to be with you on this Wednesday as we talk about the hurricane relief effort and what's happening in our great state. Just helping folks get past this as best that we can. It is far from over. Like I said on the show, one of the things that or earlier in the show, one of the things that just kind of shocked me is the tone deafness of some of the people that I see posting on social media, but I also understand that they don't get to see it or realize it. And when it's out of sight and out of mind, I guess it's easier to make assumptions and to throw stones at the service providers. I know that some of the power companies had sent people to Florida thinking that was going to be where the worst devastation was going to be. And then a lot of those folks had to hightail it back to North Carolina, not because they didn't care. They thought that's where they needed to be. This was much different, as we have now learned. So it takes a little time to get people back online and back on, from power and everything else. But I'm just amazed at how, private citizens are responding and doing what they can do. I've got on the phone a good friend of mine, Jeff Pariano. Jeff, are you with us there?
Yes, sir.
Hey, man. Well, glad to have you on. I know, you were such a dear friend to me and the family, offering up your pool house and a warm shower and a place to even watch a little bit of college football on Saturday after being disconnected from just about everything. We greatly appreciate that. That's really in the grand scheme of things, we were still very comfortable even at home without power and water. But you've jumped into action with some friends of yours, helping airlift equipment and supplies to Western North Carolina, maybe even into Tennessee, wherever they've needed it. Tell us about what's going on. And I see really cool Black Hawk helicopters, which is always fun to watch. But you've been coordinating an effort with a group that you're involved with. Tell us about that.
Yeah, thank you, former Representative Saine. Thank you for taking the time. Yeah, we're the name of our company is XP Services. We're running a nonprofit with our aviation aircraft Blackhawk specifically. And really what we're doing is we're taking our Blackhawk and using it to its fullest capabilities. We can pretty much take about 15 to 1, so 15 smaller helicopters. We can pretty much put as much goods and necessities in our aircraft compared to these other helicopters, so we're saving a lot of time in the air. Kind of consider us a semi in the sky. We're running a mission right now for Samaritan's Purse, dropping off for a need for a nursing home of 1,500 people who are without water right now in the nursing home. So, Jason, it's been an amazing experience, and we can't thank you for all the prayers and support we've been given.
Well, I can't thank you enough. Again, just amazed at how folks just take the initiative and they say, look, we know there's a need and we've got resources and we're going to jump in. I know you're raising money for it because, these helicopters, to fly them, it's not inexpensive. Fuel cost and personnel cost and everything else involved in it. I know you've got a GoFundMe page that goes directly to the nonprofit, which is, basically the dollars come in and they go right back out to the relief effort. It's Support Momentum Foundation's disaster relief operations. If you're looking for it on GoFundMe, I'll repost it on my Twitter account for those that won't remember. But I see you've got some money coming in so far. But I mean, this is brand new, so it'll take a little bit for folks to realize that they can do that. But that's a great resource. Where are you picking up at, and how can folks, one, bring supplies, two, donate, but how can they help?
Yeah, thank you. So there's a lot of effort going on right now. There's supplies being taken to Hickory, North Carolina, and Lincolnton, North Carolina, Lincoln County Airport specifically. We have found, given the size of our aircraft, that we are best to operate out of Lincoln County. We ran missions all day yesterday for Hickory. We rescued about 30 people out of a nursing home yesterday. We were setting up Starlink devices. We even set up a 3,000-pound water filtration system to suck water out of a pond and create fresh drinking water from that. And that filtration system creates 2,000 gallons a day of water. So that was yesterday. Today, our main focus is just getting all these goods, all these bottles of water from Lincoln County Airport up to the critical needs. We're working right now with my cohort here, Colonel Retired Mitch Dawkins, who's sitting next to me and can hear this conversation. We're looking for landing zones. We're looking for the most broken areas that need, number one, they need internet, and that they need just food and water. There's areas right now, Philo, North Carolina, for instance, they have nothing. We're working on trying to identify a landing zone. In fact, our Black Hawk, who just dropped off the water for the Radiant Church parking lot for Samaritan's Purse, they're going to run by Philo and look for a landing zone right now so we can get our aircraft in. So we're operating out of Lincoln County Airport, Lincolnton, North Carolina. Look us up, and really easy to get to. They got a great operations here, and basically when the goods come in, they go on our aircraft and many other aircrafts as well. But again, we're the semi in the sky, so we're able to kind of get those goods where they need to go in a bulk fashion.
Well, can't thank you enough for that. And I know the people that you're helping are incredibly grateful. If folks, money is good, goods are good, water. I had Representative Kevin Crutchfield on earlier. They were looking for cylinders for oxygen. There's a need there. But when you say it, when folks just don't realize the basic necessity of water, I mean, it is how we live. And folks, when they don't have access to clean drinking water, and you talk about these folks in nursing homes, I can't imagine what that must be like as folks are just having to, you can't even say suck it up because it is the essential to just living and breathing. So you're really bringing life to those folks because, a day or two and a few days without it is devastating. And so trying to reach those folks and find a place to land is difficult, and you guys should be thanked for it. I know it's not why you're doing it, and you're working with a lot of former military guys, right?
Yes, sir. We have our CEO at XP Services, who owns the aircraft, Rod Allison, was a former special operations pilot. Rod also took a role as a pilot in the famous Black Hawk Down movie, the Mogadishu operation. He's one of our pilots, along with a gentleman, John Williams, who's a phenomenal pilot. We also have support staff on our aircraft. Our crew chief, we've had nurses on our aircraft. Right now, we even put a future potential congressman to work. He's running a mission with us. Pat Harrigan is on the aircraft as well, former special operator, helping out as well. So we're taking likes and integrating them in, and we're kind of all falling back to what we used to do, as far as operations. So it's amazing right now. I can't begin to tell you who's on the ground. You got Samaritan's Purse on the ground. You've got a company or an organization called Airdrop that's on the ground. It's the small, nimble nonprofits that are making this happen.
Well,
so, and then, of course, all the individuals, sorry, I didn't mean to step on, but of course, all the individuals that are supporting those, that are bringing the goods.
Well, it's guys like you that are doing it, and you're former military, and one, appreciate your former service, but you guys don't just stop once you get out of the military. You've got a servant's heart, not just you, but everybody you just mentioned, and even those that didn't serve in the military. You have a servant's heart just to jump in and do this. You've put your business on hold for now. You're trying to get things done, but really you're very mission focused. When I say you, everybody involved in this is very mission focused, trying to help these folks. And that one, we can't thank you enough. And I know those folks that you're helping can't thank you enough for what you're doing. What else can people do? I mean, bring the supplies, help fund.
Bring the supplies. They have a fund here at the airport if people want to prepay for some gas. For some fuel for different aircraft, specifically, our Momentum Foundation would take donations as well. We're a 501(c). We have our maintenance hours just to maintain our aircraft without fuel is about $4,000 an hour. So we will take donations there as well to keep our aircraft in the air. We're not tasked by the U.S. government. We're not tasked by as far as paid by any other nonprofit. It's just us on our own. Of course, we're not doing this for the money, but if you have the heart that you'd want to write a check to Momentum Foundation, that would be great, or even bring money for other smaller flyers here at the Lincoln County Airport. And we had a couple here 2 days ago. Sweet couple, probably in their 80s, walked up with $1,300 cash in an envelope, handed it to the local FBO, and said, "Please apply this for fuel."
Wow.
I'm getting a little choked up.
Well, you got me choked up. I mean, it's these folks are giving not out of their excess, but out of what they have. And to do that, if you've got a little extra, really, it's not a pledge-a-thon here, but I'll say you can help if you've just got a little extra, and whether it's $5 or $1,300, all of it accumulates and counts. And you guys are doing. Leading in this mission, a lot of folks that are engaged and involved, again, giving of your time, your resources, and your talents. To have somebody that's got access to helicopters and pilots, and just to be able to do that and jump into action quickly, you can't say enough good things about that. I want to repeat: you can go to a GoFundMe page. Support Momentum Foundation's disaster relief operations. If you Google it, that's how I found it. But Momentum Foundation, if you can find that, they can donate there. Just everything that Jeff just said. There are ways to help. And what I had Kevin Crutchfield on, Representative Brenden Jones, that I know he's been in the helicopters, state helicopters, viewing the damage. So you guys, again, just thank you so much. For folks that want to help, there's ways to help. I wouldn't suggest going up there. That's not, trying to get in the mountains and trying to do things unless you're with a team that's going to do that.
Yeah. Thank you so much, former Representative Saine, and talk about a servant's heart, what you're doing too. I know you just left service for upwards of almost 20 years, and thank you to continue to serve and like you're doing. We cannot thank you enough for your help.
Well, glad to do it. And Jeff, you guys stay safe. Do the best that you can to help those folks, but really appreciate it. I'll tweet out ways that people can help. But thank you for joining the show today, and always appreciate your friendship. And thanks for that pool house.
Yes, sir. You're welcome. All right, take care, sir.
All right, take care. Thanks for listening to All Things Saine here on WSIC. We'll be back next week.